รู้เจ็บไปเจ้าเนี่ยจอตีแฟนเราอย่างนำมาไปกู้มูตัวตีนะเจ้กู้มูใช้เท่าไรตัวปอซาเลยจะปิดเลยจะเกชิตตัวเจ้กูตาเลยนำมาไปปอนได้จะนู่นน่าเท่าโปรแต่งน่ะเลยกูเลยกูจะก้าลำนี่นะมัววัวหัดเดียเลยรู้แฟนเก่าน่ะเจ็บที่เชียยังไม่รู้เจ็บไปเจ้าตัวเรื่องที่วัตถุวัวนะเจ้กูอยากรู้ตรงนู้นเนาะเจ้กูมูต้องมูกล่องตัวรู้trong xã la là giờ lu trong sáu xía của là giờ mua chế bên trong nó chỉ xía đầu lần thứ giờ tụ của là giờ ba bữa từ giờ tụ của giờ đầu lu trong nó áp hạ cầu xa cầu gì nó vậy.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to note at this time all directors are present with the exception of Director Westerland and recused and excused absence of Director Ricky Bain. We'll move on to number 3 on the agenda, which is the minutes. We have under A to approve the board minutes. Number 1, the regular board meeting of 4/25/17. Motion for approval. Director Blake and Hunsucker, second. Director Serpa. Are there any questions from the board or anyone present at the meeting? If there's no questions, concerns, additions, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Under number 4, we have to acknowledge the consent agenda, which is items number 12 through items number 231. Motion for approval, Director White. Second, Director Savalle. Any questions from our board? Those present in the audience? If not, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, under public comment. Public comment is a right granted to the public. It is reserved for items that are not listed on the agenda, but under this board's jurisdiction. Please be informed that public participation under public comment will be limited to 5 minutes per speaker and in accordance with state law. The board will not comment or otherwise consider such public comment item for business until and unless such item has been properly listed on the agenda at a future meeting. At this time, is there anyone with public comment?
One thing for Jameson. I'm with the law firm of Dowling Aaron Incorporated, and we represent Hmong International New Year Foundation, Inc. I'm just commenting in the public comment section now, and we'll be commenting further in regard to agenda item number 9. But I received a copy of a letter from the Baker Manick and Jensen firm on behalf of the Hmong Cultural New Year celebration, and simply wish to know that the California Department of Food and Agriculture appears to have been properly involved in the decision to withdraw all of the bid process in response to the RFP that was earlier issued. And to the extent that this body feels that that the bids that are currently before this body on agenda number 9, that any of those other than my client's bid can be considered, because our contention will be that none of them are financially responsible as required by the invitation to bid. And for the same reason, should this board entertain...
Mr. Jameson, can I just, are you speaking on the actual item or what happened on the past bid? If you're speaking on the actual item that we are going to be talking about in a few minutes, could you hold those comments to that, please?
I will be happy to.
Okay.
With regard to the Baker Manick and Jensen letter, the protest that my client filed at the time, if this board determines that it will consider the Baker Manick and Jensen request that be referred to a hearing officer, and that process that was set forth for protest procedure at that time be followed. Then for the reasons that there was not a financially responsible bid with respect to the Hmong cultural New Year celebration at that time, then that bid process should be upheld. And if it were to go through hearing officer, my client and I firmly believe that on that basis, it will be upheld. I will be back at agenda item number 9.
Thank you very much.
My summer brew, I'm just a community member. First of all, I wanted to say that I'm saddened by all these internal fighting about who gets to hold the Hmong New Year at your facility. The financial responsibility is charged on no other than the Hmong community's back. And I'm very, very, very torn by that. With that said, I wanted to make a comment on Mr. Jameson's comment about none of the other groups are financially responsible. If you look at their last proposal, it stated in their financial data that they themselves have to go out and loan money to run their New Year. And they have operated this organization for the last 19 years. And according to my calculation, they made more than $1 million every year, and yet they have to borrow money to run that New Year every year. They borrow $40,000, they borrow $100,000. So to argue what Mr. Jameson has said in that statement, I would say give somebody else a chance. We don't know what kind of financial backup they have or what kind of financial responsibility they have. But I can tell you this, I know that with the new groups that have put in their proposal, if they have run this New Year for near 20 years, they will not have to borrow money anywhere and then having to pay those people back for the loan. So people are amazing. If you give them an opportunity to show you what they can do, we might be surprised. Thank you.
Thank you. Please state your name and organization you represent.
Well, my name is Dr. Tulu Ta. I'm a member of the Hmong community. I'm also a resident of Fresno County. Previously, I issued an email to Lori King, and I hope that she shared with you. I'm not against anyone. I'm for the Hmong people. And let me tell you my sincere feeling. We, as a third party on the sideline, we want the best for the Hmong community. And like it or not, we are praised those who don't. But I think there's much more the Hmong can do. And in terms of moving forward, I encourage you, because you're also publicly responsible, make sure that whatever happens this fairground, the Hmong have invested a lot of money in here, that the money get invested in the same community, and not like before where always losing money, but everyone's fighting, everyone wants to make money if it happens here. So they are in control. So we as a third party just want you to know that we are very tired of this kind of fighting. As moving forward, we want things to happen for both the fairground and the Hmong community, but not really kind of happen in the past. Okay, that's all I'm sure. And we'll be observing, looking, listening. Thank you.
Thank you. IFB number 17-004. Christina is passing out informational sheets, and then Lori will proceed with the comment segment.
It is staff's recommendation to the board after reviewing the IFBs, which is a request for bid, an invitation to bid, that we award the contract to the Hmong Cultural New Year celebration. That'll be for a 1-year period with 4 one-year options, which will be mutually agreed upon and exercised by the district. The amount that they'll be paying per year is $352,000 per year for a grand total, if all 5 years are exercised, of 1.76.
Okay, so before we start anything further, I'll look for a motion for approval. Director Serpa, and a second. The board, a second.
Will you be receiving public
Director
comment?
Hudson, yes, we will. Second by Director Hudson. At this time, any questions, comments from the board or audience are welcome.
The Hmong International New Year Foundation, Inc. This invitation for bids specifies that the contract will be awarded to, quote, the highest responsible bidder, unquote. Now, responsible is the key term here. This, as you know, is the largest Hmong New Year celebration in the nation, and it has been sponsored by the Hmong International New Year Foundation now for some 16 years successfully, and that organization is well known as the sponsor of this celebration, which is of high public interest not only to the Hmong but to the entire Fresno area. The district's contract procedures at section Roman numeral 3C require that this district must do due diligence and must investigate the bidders, including without limitation consultation with their business references, and determine the suitability of the bidder's background in light of the type of event and what it's going to require. Section Roman numeral 3E requires the district to perform a financial benefit and cost analysis to determine if the district will receive a reasonable rate of return. Section 3F requires that there be adequate security for this event, a crucial issue based on the nature and size of the event, including expected attendance. There has not, to our knowledge, been due diligence here beyond what has been the initial RFP and this invitation for bid. Now, since 2008, the Hmong International New Year Foundation has delivered to the Fair District between $92,500 and $104,500 in rent in those years. That's what the rent was. And we have, with the protest that we'd earlier submitted, we submitted our profit and loss statement from 2014 to 2015, which showed that our expenses were $508,523 with a net income of $11,935.15. We, for the 2015-2016 year, show $588,817.88 in expenses against a gross profit of $672,390.09 for a net income of $83,572.21. Now, these are the records of your experienced Hmong International New Year celebration provider. No bidder here has shown a financial ability to come anywhere near these rent proposals of over $300,000, except the only bidder that has a realistic chance of meeting that rent is my client, the foundation. Hmong Cultural New Year celebration has shown not one single financial commitment. We talk in general about it, but not $1 has been shown as being made available to them for this celebration. Kennedy Hurd, their project director, has never handled an event anywhere near the size of this event. And the same is true for their disclosed officers, and they have a limited disclosure of officers. And the same is true for their management team members. They were only formed in January of 2017. This is a brand new organization. In the courts, we look at that, if they're trying to say, I'm going to make this much profit, and it's deemed speculation. And that's all that it is here. This body is responsible to the public. You cannot responsibly grant this based on these bid showings, except to the foundation which you know well and which has presented throughout its history the capability of putting on this massive celebration. That's one other thing. There is evidence that the program director, Kennedy Hurd, has been on the board, well, he has been on the board of United Hmong Council, which is in litigation with my client, where it's tried to get through the courts the right to get this celebration, and they've been unsuccessful in that effort and are the subject of an attorney fee award and an order from the court to pay my client, which they have not paid a penny on and have created a number of subterfuge organizations to try to get around the order. We've had to
I'm
deal
sorry,
with
that's
the
your
right.
time, Mr. Jameson. Time's up.
Is that time?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Thank you. I would just urge this board, please act responsibly.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Well, I apologize for being rude earlier. I did not give you. Thanks for giving us the opportunity to come and address our concerns and opening the floor to the community. Thank you very much for your endless dedication to the Fresno community and what we do. I applaud you for your service. I wanted to just talk about the finance that Mr. Jameson talked about. And I know that Lori and I had communicated probably several years ago. And I was pulling financial report. I wanted to know how much the Hmong International made, at the entrance, and then calculation how much they made from their vendors and stuff. So I would say about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I had pulled some of these financial reports. And I can tell you that it's right in terms of the money that they reported in their proposal. I was surprised that they didn't report their financial profits in its entirety, because what they showed in their proposal was just what they got from the door. And if you calculate, I mean, every year consistently, it shows in the Fresno Bee that at least 100,000 people walk through the door. And if you calculate $4 times 100,000, that's 400,000. But that's not all the money they make. They make almost, if not more, almost $1 million or more charging the vendors, the 600 vendors that you stated in the RFP or RFP. So for the other three groups to bid at 300,000 or 250, there is still a big cushion for them to still make their profit and still implement the vision that they have in terms of giving back to the community, building community centers, building elderly centers, building museums and schools for the Hmong community. I think there's a lot more money that these three groups, or the Hmong culture in this case, can make and not break their bank account with the $352,000 paid to the facility. So I just want to say, a lot of the people who worked for the Hmong International, they were all volunteers. The only few people that were paid out of the organizations was the executive director, their secretary, and police officers and security guards. For the most part, people who helped run the whole show, they all volunteered. So my big question is, where did all this money go? But obviously you guys can't answer that. But I do want to say that there is a big cushion that, the Hmong culture can still produce in terms of money, in terms of being responsible financially, and being able to run this New Year successfully. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I still like to give you my same pitch again. I want to remind you that this Hmong New Year is not anyone New Year, it's the entire Hmong community. And whether this group or that group run it, it has to be from the Hmong community's own. That has not, and there's some clearly undeniable evidence that there's some conflict or maybe some unhappiness in the community about how the New Year is run. I don't care who you give it to, but I think that you have to be accountable. Everyone's 501c3 has to be accountable because we, the third party who has not been involved with neither of these organizations, we are very tired of more fighting against Hmong in this New Year. I think it could be a better place, better event for you, for us, everyone here. And you'll be observing. I'm here with Dr. Charlie Chan. We call ourselves Hmong community advocate. We are for the benefit, for the better of the Hmong community. And we are serious. I don't just come, take out my time, come with issue. We are very serious this year. And we got to make sure whoever we give it to, we got to monitor too. We got to make sure things go well. Can't happen like before. And there are too many, you don't want to know what I know. So let's put that there. I don't want to say it to you now. But I think it's time to change. It's time to change for the better.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Charlie Chen. I'm the chair of the Hmong Democrat Club in Fairground County. And the back of your the picture tell you that leader can make it happen. All those people come together just like yourself. And this Hmong New Year, same like they're running political, when two parties who have get a majority bring the minority together and make it happen. Make for America better, right? And the Hmong, you will have a fairground here. I checked the list, more than 100 fair across the state of California, and they don't have this kind of problem. I suggest that you read. Yesterday I observed the meeting, and I don't think that you have a chance to have a panel to review. And I agree with them that at least you have a panel. Look at the structure, the financial, the people. I used to live in San Diego, but they call me as a host for 15 years, Hmong National New Year. Start from Kearney and moved to Fresno, from the convention, 1985, 86, 87. They do Fairground. And all this group, the same family. Only 18 people, 18 last name. Hmong only have 18 last name. And they fight each other. All this is Hmong Bank Bar. The Hmong Foundation, the Hmong New Year, the Hmong culture, you name it. All the Hmong are pro-American. We want to be free, we want to be democratic. But they're fighting like dog and cat. I ask you to look at the American politics, look at American economic, and make it fair. I think it's not fair. I think either you award one project, they still court fighting. So if you can, why not you holding Fairground? You be the chair. Appoint those 4 coming, sit down like this table. So celebrate 1 year as an example. So the Hmong can learn from you. Can you do that? This is what I come in to ask you. Don't let us fight only a piece of bone. And we vote for you. We vote for the county. We vote for city council, the mayor, and they pay tax. We pay for the police, and nothing done for the Hmong. We'll continue to live here. We're not going to go anywhere. So please help us to solve this problem. We don't want to be messy. We don't want to see fighting, Hmong brother, sister fight each other. That's what I am here to ask you. Please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dan Stein. I'm an attorney with Baker, Manning & Jensen. And thank you so much for the time to speak here today. I'll be brief. On behalf of my client, the Hmong Cultural New Year Celebration Incorporated, we'd like to thank the staff and the board for the work that it's done to get us to this point. And clearly the staff has recommended to the board that the Hmong Cultural New Year Celebration Incorporated be awarded the IFB, and we are, of course, supportive of the staff's decision in that regard. And with respect, I wanted to just raise a couple of issues in response to Attorney Jameson's comments. Number one, it sounds really like what his client is arguing is that somehow our client is not responsible. And I would just say that there's been no finding by the staff that our client is not going to be responsible. And with respect to the law in that regard, a bidder is responsible if it can perform the contract as promised. That's what the law requires. So, to my knowledge, there's been no evidence that's been presented to the staff, certainly no recommendations from the staff to the board that my client be found as a non-responsible bidder. And so, you know, we're ready to meet our obligations and get this thing going. We need the contract signed so we can get everything in place and make this a great event. And with respect to the final comment by Mr. Jameson about the United Hmong Council, I don't really think that has any bearing on any of the merits of what he's talking about. There might be some lawsuit where the United Hmong Council, a separate entity, owes their organization some money that has nothing to do with the Hmong Cultural New Year Celebration Incorporated. So with that, I'd like to thank the board for its time, and that'll conclude my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Staff's recommendation. Are there any other questions from any of you before we move forward with the vote? So this time I'll ask, all in favor of the motion, please say aye to accept staff's recommendation. All in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. I'd just like to, I'm going to stand to read it, like to make a comment on behalf of our board. We thank all of you, the respondents who participated in this process. And I thank Fair Management for going through this process. I've been involved with it from the beginning. It's not been an easy one. It's hard to please everyone, as you most know, in a community. But we want the Hmong community here. We want you to have your celebration here. And we look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you.
Cho nên một cộng trò đặt tới chú cha thì và đặt tới tu luyện cái xe họ thằng cái tôi một cộng trò lu trong sáu la cho là chỉ sẽ cho một cái tin cho mong vừa chơi với cháu cho friend gạo xong nó chỉ tất cả đều xe gạo mà lu đi trả thiên gạo xả đi trả là chỉ cũng cho nên bé một cộng đồng cái đặt tới chú cha thì và đặt tới tu luyện cái cho lu xe gạo mà lu là chỉ phải cái
nhớ rằng ý trọng cái tin anh cha mong cho ta vì đã từ chiếc cha nu nó đã từ tôi lưu tàu một lưu chi phí một chạy nhung to nông Fairground Fairground chào vua là review thế là mỗi à vua thì xong đó giờ bắt từ là và chỉ biết cho xong đó cho nên này bỏ Fairground bị ở lúc thì thâu nó chỉ là một lớp ta là cho tuần bị được chỉ cho một lâu ba tuần chỉ mua lâu ba là chỉ mua 8 chia này giờ Hmong Cultural Celebration và nó là 8 chia thế rồi thì giờ nên cho mình tụi mình nhỏ sẽ được thì sẽ cho nó thành công là cũng kinh hay thì cho hoàn đầu xong rồi là bên chỉ mua tiền nhà chủ sĩ đã chỉ cho Hmong thì ban đầu bây giờ lo cho tụi chế cho tụi gần đâu gần đó tôi hoặc là cũng giải khó trong cơ thể của khoa thì là một bệnh sự cơ giờ đi cha là cả là nên sẽ được tàu cá chứ cho luôn là chỉ có chơi nên cho con nhiều tí cho nó cho chữ to đặc biệt tôi lưu tôi xóa với tôi nông thì bây giờ chúng nó giá đó là mà giá ít của cho cháu ở chia sau thì chỉ chúng nó thì tôi một bé của chỉ cháu tự chia thì từ muốn nhận tàu thì tụi tàu thì họ nói là họ đánh mình cho cái chấm mông của thằng qua của cái chấm mông sẽ được thì giờ thì cái cổng siêu thì 被原主任了，也被我做是真的了的，我过就考决定的了，那对门到这到我是也不啥，还要被老的了的，นู่น了这到180呢，这老生后来叫罗呢老我，就接狗一生的。cầu gì sinh nó chỉ mua tàn họ cho sinh nhau cho nên là có lẽ nhà mong cái sinh nhau nên cho nông sản tây tết là hôn cho nên là thế sẽ để cho mình cộng một bát chùa cả cho nó qua xin này có tới đi chắc cũ để họ nó cũng tiền mà hạ cái lò thì nó tới nên sẽ đỡ lòng cho mấy cái mà lấy tí tao muốn cho nó cho là review lấy chỉ muốn chơi đi tôi chỉ lấy muốn tới tiền dài tôi cho chơi tôi chỉ muốn chi là thì lấy tôi bảo trong lấy mua được pan nó thì sẽ họ nó cũng là process thì bên tôi lúc tí cho nó bên tôi cả lựa chọn process thì cũng sau đi nó cũng tiền đặt từ từ luôn để hai bên lọt tới đây sẽ được
ok nhớ dùng cho nè cho gì cho cái chất tiền nhất là sẽ cụ thể đó thực xử lý tôi nó cứ sao tôi sửa sẽ có một khó thì giờ sơ tôi không có vào mang ít chỗ là gia vấn đề vì bên bao thì bên châu nó vậy phải chờ số đời giá số đời tua hậu nó cũng tổng nhiên tôi sẽ theo giá cả tàu đó chỉ là cái bên lái chuẩn rồi tận đây rồi tại vì lý do nhau phải số nói ít xong từ bên ở bên ta bên trong một bữa tại đây là cô lo một trâu xá một vài một bên bát trăm đồng lo thêm một số bên nó làm một bên tên này tên ở đó tôi chơi con nó nhau nó cũng chỉ tông ra lần tua bên trong toàn là ha bác sĩ chỉ hôm nào một cú sa thì dọn ra được sửa cả bên trong một hệ nó mình chỉ hay 3 lần từ là chỉ hay 3 phút 3 chia rồi 3 chia là tàu lấy 3 bởi sa cả bên luôn không cần vào mà hiện tại thì hôm nay họ chú tuần này nằm họ thêm nó tôi sửa vậy xin sang một cái chỗ nữa nó tia chẳng xa mà giá tận đây nó con tàu dài thả tất nhiên cú sa thì kia thả đi nào xứ họ kế và mang đồng mong này họ kia cái tuần này thế nên bao lần này giờ lần thứ hai nhỉ và mỗi chuyện nói cũng sau cái đó là cái nhà tôi là họ thì bên mong chủ là tôi ok chỉ sau ok cái theo bản mình họ thì bỏ tiền bên bông ca đen rồi vì là lựa hay năng xử lý đó là có thời tên là bây giờ một lọ trà có chỉ có lọ trà tất nhiên là